Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US stocks for Thursday, September 16, starting with Amazon. And Amazon's a bit sort of out of whack with the other ones, because if this is correct with 5 waves moving up through here, that means we'll have 3, 4 and 5 moving in this direction. So kind of interesting. It's a little bit sort of different from the other markets. I'm kind of using Alphabet Google as a sort of a central theme to what's going on at the moment, and we'll get to that in a moment. As it stands at the moment, though, it does appear that there's 5 waves up through here, so we've been looking for a pullback, and I've counted the waves, and we've got an ABC. It hasn't pulled back to its 50-60% retracement level, which we'll look at on the tick chart, I think. But yeah, so if we, like I mentioned before, if we get support on the 3500, well then we'll look to go long at that point. So the market's got to prove to us that it is strong, and the 35 is, you know, the psychological sort of line in the sand, and if it can sit on that, well then we can make a move on it. I really want to make sure that the setup is correct because of what's happening in other markets. Okay, into the tick chart. This is our focus in this little area through here. As you can see, we've got 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave and fifth wave. It's a little bit odd around the top here. This is the 50-60% retracement level. It hasn't pulled back into that space. So it's not to say that you know, that it's over yet as well, but I did count 5 waves down here. It does appear that I've got a bit of an extra wave in here because I can count 5 waves going up here, but I got this extra one. It looks like a B wave, and you could look like it a B wave, but if you ignored the spike, it's actually quite a nice 5 wave move in that. Anyway, I'm a little bit confused about this, but what I was looking for was a support on the 35, which would be a little classic trading levels pattern. So we would need to have something like that. There's not a big deal in how, you know, there's not, if we look at the patterns that can occur. I mean, this here is a classic trading levels pattern as well. We've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC. So of course we'll look to go long above the top here. That's not the sort of issue at that point. We want to get a better price. Now you say that well, Pete, why don't you just buy here then to get that? Well, the market hasn't proved to me that it's strong enough and it's got that support yet, especially with what's going on in the other market. So we're looking for a pattern like that, which will be, so this is the 35. We've got this pattern, right? But now we're in this little bit over here. We're about here, right? So inside of this little simple little pattern here it will play out like this here. This bigger pattern will be as a fractal will be in here. So we'll have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC pattern, and then we can move in perhaps, you know, a little bit lower over here. Now we may get a variation of that pattern, which is this pattern here. So it might just go the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and not come back below the level. But it shouldn't catch us out because we'll always go along above that level, above the top. Let's call that the reference point high or the reference point low if we're going short, and then the second high here. So we won't get caught out. The other thing that it can do, which we may as well look at, which doesn't happen that often, but where it doesn't stop at the level and just pushes through, but it normally just fades back. And I'm not sure what happened there and whatnot, but yeah, it does that weird thing. So I made some new templates up, and just sort of something in the background, must be in Photoshop or something. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, this pattern though. I always see it like a triangle because, you know, when you use the price point across here, then it becomes like the balance line. So even though it overshoots here, the pendulum will sort of shoot back down through here, pretty much an equal distance most of the time, just as a rule of thumb. You know, I mean, it can be off by, you know, 30-40%, but it just gives you, it's a good starting point. Do you know what I mean? But it kind of peters out and balances out like a triangle does into its apex over at this point over here. So if you're patient enough, you can kind of work work them out. And then the other thing that you need to sort of understand is the personality of the particular market that you're trading as well, because each market is the same, but they're all uniquely different, like us human beings. So you can kind of look back. I mean, this pattern in here really, yeah, this pattern here is like a very small version of this larger pattern here. And then if you look closely in here, we really got that secondary pattern. It didn't drop back below the level here, did it? You know, so really in that case, we've got this pattern here for that. You know, so all these, it's, you know, success is in the subtleties, I think. So, yeah, anyway, just want to go to, I think we've been looking at this on 10 ticks as well, this correction. So I just want to go back and visit that. This is how we're looking at it. I don't know if it's correct. It's a little bit dodgy. I mean, I've got the first wave in here, which is fine. Second, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A little bit dodgy, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm not even sure about that, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could put that over to here, which is the better fit, and I will do that. But it doesn't make any difference. We still have wave 4 there, and then we've got 1 and 2, such a high correction, 3, typical wave 4 and 5. So as an A wave here, and the B wave, and then the C wave that we're looking for. So that's all kind of turned around nicely, and we've got an impulse wave to the upside here. So this will be, that still looks about right there. So a little bit lower, doesn't really matter. Well, 35 is important anyway. So this move up through here, we can look at, I'll just, actually I can just borrow these. It's not going to be a big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to close there. So I think this is kind of where we are here somewhere. But at the moment, it's just 3 waves up. So if I look at it, I might just copy that to just need to just remember what I've done. So this could be an ABC up to this point. Do you know what I mean? I've got it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an impulse wave going higher, but it can be an A and a B and a C to the 61.8% and then fail from that point. So we'll just also put this here to remind us, just because I'm not totally sure about everything here, and it doesn't really matter. That's why I kind of invented the trading levels for, because it really just strengthened the Elliott up in terms of, you know, getting money in and out of the market and where to put stops and things. The numbers helped me a lot, the levels. So in this case, yeah, we'll just get back up. We'll just, if we get up here, then we'll look. But we basically need, obviously, as you can see here, we'll need this will be 3, 4, 5 here, and then we'll hopefully get some sort of little ABC pattern here that will pull back, so we can look to get in over here for that. If not, we just fail from this point. You know, we either go up or down. So it doesn't really matter. This pattern just keeps us safe. Alrighty, sorry for waffling so long. Google, this is actually the daily chart here. Just looking at the bigger picture. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where I think that the markets will be sort of heading and ending up here. Now, I certainly could be wrong as well. Picking tops is for losers. But it's a lot of fun, and you know, if you're not losing, well then you know, if you're not making mistakes, as they say, well you're not moving forward. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a reaction from here anyway. It's just what type of reaction, you know. So it's just something we just got to kind of just keep putting the puzzle together in real time to make, you know, confirm and confirm and confirm and confirm, and that's all we can do. So if we were going to short this, we'd want to see 5 waves in this move down through here. Because if we got 3 waves in that move, then we know that it's corrective, and then we'd have to take extra care over here because it would be part of the flat family. But if we get 5 here, then after the retracement, then we can move in, and we may get, sometimes you get lucky, you get into a 3rd wave, you know. Otherwise you might get into 1s and 2s and so on coming down. So that makes it a little bit sort of tricky. So there's a bit of a a skill and as you know, making it work at that point. But from wave 4 here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's just go to the tick chart. I mean, that's September 23rd that I'm thinking about, which is about a week away. I think it's next Thursday. That was kind of our target zone, and Craig mentioned that we've got a Fed meeting on the 21st and 22nd or something. There's some other stuff going on too. I mean, I know there's stuff going on for Australia, that Biden was going to meet up with the Indo-Pacific crew because China's getting a bit of a bully in the area. But yeah, I hope Biden sort of continues to support us over here. We don't want to be flanked. Australia would be one of the first to be taken out, I'd imagine, in a war. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So we've got this ABC that we've been working through, and everything's going according to plan here. Looks like there's probably 1 and 2 in here, and this is probably the beginning of the third wave here. As I mentioned, we just really need to take out this. We don't need to take out that top. All we need is 5 waves here, but realistically, we should be, the accumulation size of this here would take us higher there, so we can kind of, it's probably cheating a little bit, but we could just sort of look at it like that. Still a bit short there. I'm just using that length to take us there, but it's not going to be long enough. It only takes us to the top. Anyway, we'll see how we go. We'll just count the waves up through to here, but that's kind of where we're looking at, really. So I think this would be, I always thought this was a good timing thing for where we are. Now, obviously, some markets are going to be turning before others and so on, so it's not always clean cut. Okay, so Apple. So Apple may have a top in place, and we've talked about that, and it also may be, the other point here that I've got is that, you know, we had this from this point to this point here, wave 1 and 2, that's fine, it's all good, but wave 4 is so small here, you know, I just don't know if it's right, and we could get one more high coming into play here for this. I'm not quite sure. So what we're doing is that if this is going to be, we've either got this wave 4 or we're going to have this wave 4, okay? If it's this wave 4, then it's going to come back to the 38.2% retracement level on wave 4, 1 lesser degree, and it'll come back in 3 waves and then push up. So we know this little move down here is 5 waves, so that's cool. So after a correction, it's going to give us another 5 waves. So we're going to try and build some positions in through here. And we may take some money off the table down here just to lessen the blow, because it's at this point that we will be kind of helpless but not hopeless, because if it goes down on an angle, if it goes down, if it comes down just as sharp as the A wave coming down, then we'll know that we're in a third wave down. If it comes on more of a lazy angle, then we'll know we're in wave 4, so we'll tighten the stops up and we'll take a move to get out. But the other point too is that this will be 5 waves, so whatever happens, under any move under that 5 waves will take us down deeper. Not that it's going to take us down much deeper. This is the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree here, so, and obviously there's going to be great support at 130, so it's not going to be a fantastic trade. And as I've mentioned before, if we're moving into wave 4s, be it in the indices or stocks, it can get really messy. So you'll have to take it easy on me, because there'll be a lot of it'll be just a sort of a guessing game. But once we come out of it and we go into wave 5, that's where the money is. So I suggest that coming into wave 4s, if you're a trend trader, at least start to reduce your position sizes a lot. Like if you just halve them to start with, so you can think also about, because you're driving on the other side of the road now, aren't we? We'll be on the short side most of the time. So if you're not familiar with that, you've got to be good at both. Anyway, stop waffling, Pete, get into it. So okay, so as I mentioned, this can be wave 3 over here and not 5, but I'll just leave it there. The main takeaway here is that, as I mentioned before, we were looking for 5 waves to come down. So we've got 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's cool. And then we've had the A, the B, and the C for 4. And then you can see a nice 5 waves coming down here. So we can put that A wave in there. And now we're looking for the B wave to come into play. So I'll just check on that. Also a little bit high. Drop that down to there somewhere. So we're looking for this ABC pattern, so we could probably put that about there. We could drop that back there, push that over there, and this is what we'd be looking for. So we've still got to get through something of this nature here, and then we can look to short. Now, because we've got a nice 5 waves in this move down through here, that means that that's going to give us confidence to actually short in the box, because we don't normally short in the box. That means also too, this little move coming up through here will be 5 waves, so we could also look to short at that point. Because we've got confidence in this 5 waves, that means we're going to get another 5 waves over here. So we can afford to get a small position, you know, in the box here or at the end of the 5 wave structure. So that's what we'll be looking at. Probably in the next session we'll get to that. Yeah, so that's all looking quite good. The length of the wave C here should be, you know, much the same length as this here. So that can be a starting point. It may not be the case, but at least we can come down to 143, 144. 144 in this case will be important. 144 is where Fibonacci meets Gann. Gann's square of 144, 12, 12, 144, and the Fibonacci sequence, 55, 89, 144. So, yeah, it could be important. I think it's also sitting pretty close to this as well, the 38.2% retracement level. So anyway, we don't know what wave 4 we're in. This could be, you know, this move down here can also be, you know, I should highlight that, can be a wave 3 as well. So we need to see it. It depends on the angle here. This is kind of a lazy angle. So if we see this on a sharper angle, then it's more likely to be this rather than that. And we'll try and get a position above here. We may try to get a second position after the bounce, because it'll come down in one way or another, bounce off that, get another position, and then under here get another position. And then we've got group 2 here. We want group 2 as the resistance, but we'll need to see where the wave structure is at that point, because if we got 5 waves to here, then we're going to get a retest to this point, and then go down. So we'll have to get it over here for this. So it's kind of understanding the future wave structure to move in and around that. Okay, that's Apple. Square. This is what we'll do with Apple, really, in a way, but probably a little bit more refined, because we know where we are a little bit more. But, you know, we had this first move come down through here, then we had the ABC, and then we went short. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing, but with Apple, we'll be shorting a little bit higher up in that case. With this market here, I think we've got the A, the B, and the C wave here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. I think that's the case, and in that case, we'll come down as wave 4. We could come down as an ABC pattern, or we could come down as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the A wave here. So we don't know if the A wave is going to be 3 waves or 5 waves. If it's going to be 5 waves, then we'll get 3 over here and another 5. So it all will be nice and simple. If we only get 3 waves over here, then we also need to be mindful too that this 5-wave structure up here could just be wave 1, and then coming back as an A and a B and a C for wave 2 in here. So that's why I've got wave 2 here, and then moving up at that point. So we'll need to be a little bit careful about that. It's probably not the case, but it's possible. So if it's possible, then we'll need to navigate that situation, and we'll need to handle it with a bit of care. So on the So from the B wave here, we've come down, we've shorted here. We haven't really moved the stop. We've talked about taking some profit here. We've also talked about taking full profit here. It just depended if you wanted to go through this. So from wave 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. We're looking for an A and a B and a C for the fourth wave. And then we'll be looking down for the fifth wave down here. So we'll be taking money off the table here. And then we'll have some sort of ABC if we're going to get the fourth wave. And then we'll go down for the fifth wave. So there's a little bit going on here. It is at this point here that we can have wave C here as well and not come back from that point and continue to move up. So this is going to be important. So I think what we might do here is not just take that, but we'll take it all off the table at that point. And then we'll navigate back in through here, which should be pretty simple at that degree of structure. And then down for wave 5. So we can trade this down and get out. I suppose we could get involved in the B wave a little bit. Yeah, a couple of things here. So we've moved through the A wave here, that's all good, and then we're looking through to the B wave. We're looking for an A and a B and a C to come back into this box. A little bit rough on the C wave. I don't know if that's the low or that's the low. I'll have to give that some thought. I can see that it's starting to impulse here, a little fourth wave, and so that will continue up. That's all cool. Two things here. This box here is the 38.2% retracement level, and we hit that with the A wave. The wave 4 1 lesser degree is over here, so it could probably come in between here, probably, yeah. Anyway, we'll spend a bit more time on this a bit later. And it'd be nice to get a short position above this level, but certainly below it as well. So we'll look to build back in over here. The stuff that we took out here, we'll try and get back in, in this space here. But if I can't understand it, it'll have to be under the medium level here at 250 as a retested resistance. But this is the point here too where, I need to put that there, where it can just continue to go up from that point. So that's why we might just take this out at that point. Once this is fully mature, we'll know what's what at that point, because it will show itself up as corrective. Okay, moving along a little bit. Facebook dropped down as a wave 4, it dropped down to 50% rather than 40%, 38.2. But I think I'll stay with it. I understand that we can have wave 4 here, which means that would put wave 5 top in here. So I'm aware of that, okay? So I know that we could possibly have a top in play. That's step 1. But otherwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming into this here. So we need to be a little bit careful with this, but let's go in and... So let's just get a bit more. Is 1,000 enough? Yeah, so we've got this wave 4 over here. Let's just go back over this. So we've got wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C for wave 2. Having an expanded flat in wave 1, in wave 2 is a bit rare. I see it in leveraged markets more often. We can treat that as wave 4 there in that case, but I didn't really have a nice 5 waves down here. I suppose we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the C wave here. So, but it makes the B wave a bit weird at that point. I don't know if we can look at it any other. I suppose we could look at it as an A and a B. I suppose we could put that over there and make that the top. Anyway, not just, it's sort of pushing it around a bit too much. So, we are at the 50, it's come down to the 50% rather than the 40%, not a big deal. We had a count yesterday where we were looking at wave 4 from wave B, well, coming back over from wave 3 here, and ABC for the A wave and ABC for the B wave here, and then counting 5 waves down here. So we had this alternative count here as wave 3, 4, and 5, so obviously that's kicked in, so we're going to have to put that there. So this is where we need to be a little bit careful. I think this is all okay. We don't need that and that. It's just the alternative count, so that's all good there. I mean, it was the spike that sort of threw me out a bit. In this case, we needed to include it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so that's all going quite nicely. What we need to be careful of here, if we take this top, be the 50-60%. So it's that, which is obvious anyway, because we've got, we've got this all that volume through there, so that's reflecting back over in the 50-60% retracement level. So that's going to be a bit of a little headache here, but I don't think that would be on the short side here just yet. If we take those tops here, I'll just put this in here. So what we could say is that if the 370, say, I mean the 72 is obviously the game in town, but if the 370 becomes the retested resistance, then we're in a bear market at that point. Okay, so we'll just wait and see what we've got at that point. So it could certainly, based on, I mean, we could look at this as wave 1 here with an A and a B. Nah, it's not a B wave, is it? Still, there's overlap there. Down for 1, an A and a B into C. We don't have a C wave here either. I think we're right here. I think we're good to go. I think this will just continue to move up. It's going to have problems here for sure before moving up sort of higher. So it's really only if it breaks this point down here that we need to be concerned about things. Otherwise, stay long. How far will we go? Will we reach the 400? I have no idea, but it will be somewhere between this high here. Could even be around the 390 sort of area, perhaps. We'll see. Just leave that, that's okay. Anyway, that's where we're at with Facebook. And the last one is Tesla. So with Tesla 2, we're looking for one more little move up, as you know. So we've got this B wave up here of C of 5, and from wave 4 here, we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to push up. So we're kind of on track there. Like I said before, I'm happy to be bullish in this market, but I would need a classic trading levels pattern at 800. So yeah, we will be looking to short this as well. We just want to be sure that we're on the right track. Sometimes it's, it might be best just to short this if we can get a nice clean count from this here. If we can get a nice clean 5-wave structure here, if we can nail that down, right, then we could just short at the end of the 5-wave structure, because the 8 here is a profit-taking number, so the bid's going to be hit here anyway. So let's just cruise in, see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, looking good. So I don't need to go back further. We've got wave 3 here, ABC for wave 4. I could just get a bit tidier. Yesterday we're looking for wave 2 and put that there. Didn't really pull back to the 50-60%, but that's okay. What was that low, just out of interest? 36.50, so group 2, okay, just for my own interest. So yep, that looks all good. So if that's wave 1, then wave 3 should be up here. So we should come pretty close to the 800, which is a major level, of course. This is all, we're just crossing over the midpoint here. There may be more of a dance here just yet. Might go up a bit higher to some balance point in all of this here. We can sort of sometimes get that a bit. I can't see it. I'll have to open it up further. But sometimes you can look at all of this cacophony here and find where all the open and closes are, and then that's normally where all the orders are sitting. But you can check in the depth for that. But approaching group 2 here, 65, 72 and 80 will be the next thing after we've got support on the 70, on the 50, the midpoint. Just want to have a look, just want to double check a few things. There's a nice, I wouldn't say it's a nice 5 wave, but it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'd be the 3rd wave. That's okay. And 1 and 2, and then we'll have to look at all of that. So that's the top there. That's okay. Just checking. It's not really moving off like a strong 3rd wave, but end of session stuff, I guess. I think it might fold back here. That's what I'm sort of looking at. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, or actually 1 and 2 over here for that. And then we can start with 1 and 2, probably 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Will that be 1 and 2 again? It looks like it's rolling over to come back and check that. Don't be surprised if it does. Alrighty. Yeah, that's it. Sorry for taking so long. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.